Sebastian Vettel is leaving Scuderia Ferrari and will join Aston Martin in 2021. Again, a bit of a bad-kept secret, as quite a few people thought that this was going to happen. A few months ago, he was released from Scuderia Ferrari, and Spanish driver Carlos Sainz from McLaren was signed up to the big Italian team, leaving Sebastian out of contract, but being a four-time world champion and pretty much in the prime of his Formula 1 and even sporting career, only 33 years old, you would have thought that Sebastian would go into another team. And after, again, I'd say loads of rumours and speculation, pictures of him and Seam talking to Omar Safinow and Lawrence Stroll, it has been conclusively decided that the German driver will go to Aston Martin, the team, of course, who has changed hands in terms of names quite a few times, called Racing Point this year, and of course Aston next year. He will go to the Silverstone-based team of Aston Martin for 2021. We made 2 videos on that, so this of course is the latter one Sebastian signed, but that unfortunately does mean that Mexican driver Sergio Perez, the man who's been at Racing Point, or formerly Force India, since 2014, will be out of contract at the team. And Sebastian will partner Lance Stroll for the 2021 season. It's been absolutely incredible news, an up and down week heading into what is Sebastian's 1000th Grand Prix, not his personally, but of course the team that he drives for at the moment's 1000th Grand Prix in Mugello, the Tuscan Grand Prix of 2020. It's an up and down week, and in my personal opinion, of course you'll hear from my course opinion as well, but in my personal opinion, Sebastian, I thought he was going to retire. It's been absolutely a crazy week. So as I say, Sebastian Vettel, 33 years old, had an up and down torrid time with Scuderia Ferrari. He moved from Red Bull Racing, a team that he'd won 4 world championships with, and 4 constructors for the team also. He moved at the end of the 2014 season to join Ferrari alongside Finnish driver and his personal friend Kimi Räikkönen in 2015, and of course spent 6 consecutive seasons at the team, doing a good job there. So in his first season, he finished in 3rd position. 2017 and 2018 were his highlight seasons. He finished in 2nd place in the Drivers' Championship of those years, finishing behind Lewis Hamilton. He had a pretty good season of 5 wins apiece in those both seasons, and that Ferrari was looking close to get Sebastian, of course, what he went to Ferrari to achieve, which was a world championship. He went there to emulate Michael Schumacher, be a German driver, the 2nd German world champion on the grid, of course, before Nico Rosberg, to win a world championship with one team, and of course then go to the iconic Italian team and win a world championship there. It wouldn't be 5 like Michael did, but even if Sebastian could get 1, that is mission accomplished in his eyes. That has not happened. In 2019's results, being a 5th place in the World Championship behind Charles Leclerc's younger teammate, of course, the man who that was his debut season at the Italian team. Max Verstappen, of course, at Red Bull Racing, his former team, and the 2 Mercedes drivers of Valtteri Bottas and Lewis Hamilton, who became the 6-time world champion there. It's been not really successful. And mission win now could be called mission failed for the German driver. And he is now signed for Aston Martin in 2021. And the main question is are we seeing a Sebastian Vettel 3.0, being 2.0 when he went to Ferrari, to start this all again, to start the Red Bull journey again, just of course now in red overalls in the Italian team. Now we're going to win world championships. Now we're going to see the birth of Sebastian. That didn't happen. Of course, as I just said there, you could call it mission failed. Is he going to Aston Martin now, when he's 33 years old and the 5th team he's going to be moving to? Is this now Sebastian doing this all again? Well, starting off from my opinion, when I thought Sebastian was going to retire, so I didn't expect him to be in this position, so I don't really know what to say. I really don't, but let's speak to a man who thought he was going to be in Formula 1 in 2021. Jordan, yeah, you thought Sebastian, there was a chance that the German driver still had something left in the tank. So, 21, alongside Lance Stroll, Sebastian Vettel in the green overalls. It's up and down, isn't it? So yes, main question I've just asked there is Sebastian Vettel going to do this again? Is Sebastian Vettel wanting to start from zero and say, well, Ferrari's one of those things, it happened, it passed me by, I didn't achieve what I wanted to, but here I am, brand new team, 5th team when I'm 33 years old, and I am ready to win a world championship. What do you think?
Well, firstly of all, I would say that Lance Stroll has not been officially signed yet, but also in saying that, I'd imagine that he will be more or less on the grid for next season, to say the least. But anyways, so Sebastian Vettel going to Aston Martin. Now, firstly, when the news first broke that he was going to be leaving Ferrari, again, I was straight away like, oh, wow, I think he's going to be going to, I think he's going to be leaving Formula One altogether. I really did believe that at the start, but as time went on and the rumours started circulating, I was like, maybe he might be staying in Formula One after all, and look what he is. He actually does have a seat for next season. So going to Aston Martin now, first of all, he believes that in himself that he wants to keep racing in Formula One. He still has that burning desire to win races. Going to Aston Martin is a good project. It's a good foundation. You know, a team that were on the brink of extinction, going all together, saved by Lawrence Stroll, and now turn it into Aston Martin, and now have signed a 4-time world champion. Things are looking good for the team. They really, really are. And Vettel firmly believes in what they are doing going forward. So, yes, we all know that his time at Ferrari was a shambles, let's say. He had moments, he had really good moments, like what Lyle said there before about 2017 and 2018. They were, pretty good years for him in that team. But obviously, it didn't work out he didn't get the end goal, which was to become world champion with the Ferrari team. He never did that. Is he going to be doing it with Aston Martin? It all depends what Aston Martin can deliver to Sebastian Vettel, because we don't know what car he might be getting. I mean, we've got a hunch for 21, but for 22, we don't know what kind of car they're going to be building. It's a multi-year deal, so he's going to be there for not just for 21, but beyond it as well. So we'll have to wait and see what Aston Martin bring to the table for Sebastian Vettel and see what he can do or not. I think one of the things that a lot of people will be looking at is the overall performance of Vettel, because even though a lot of people think he's like this washed-up driver who's had his days and he's not the driver he once was, and you're like, well, question this. I think we're about to find out whether or not he is still a decent driver worthy of being in Formula One or not. Because I've always said, I want to see Vettel in another car. I want to see him in a different team with a different environment. Because Red Bull, for him, it worked perfectly. He was their golden child. The team developed around him. Going to Ferrari, it was a different kettle of fish. Ferrari are a totally different team to what Red Bull are and probably were back in the day. In Aston Martin, I think they're on the level of Red Bull in the sense of how new they are and how modern they are. They probably do things differently to what Ferrari do. And maybe Ferrari are still they're trying to go with the times, but still keeping that traditional side of things that maybe it didn't really appeal to Seb behind the scenes, or that's not the way he personally believed in doing things or whatever. I don't know. So we're about to see whether it was Ferrari's fault or whether it was Vettel's own doing as to why it didn't work out at Ferrari. But going in Aston Martin, I'm excited. I'm excited. Now, I said in the reaction video, I'm not the biggest Vettel fan in the world. I respect him as a driver and I like him, I do. But I'm not gonna, if he leaves F1, I'm not gonna be on the tears. I'm not gonna be on the floor blaring my eyes out, crying until days on end. You know what I mean? It's like, if he leaves, all right, fair enough. But thank you and good night, Seb. But for him to stay in Formula One, I am pleased. I'm like, yeah, okay, I want to see Vettel redeem himself. I want to see him prove critics wrong. Am I one of these people who believes Seb can have a redemption kind of year? Absolutely. I'm fully in that zone of, I think Vettel will have a much better year. I think we'll see a little glimpse of old Sebastian Vettel, how ruthless he was, how quick he was in a car that can ultimately win races possibly, or even challenge for podiums. I don't know if Seb's going to be at the front into next season because of how little there is going to be changing from this year's car to next year's car, but this is the long-term thing. So will it work out in the long term? If I'm honest, I really don't know. I really hope it does. So he's going to bring a lot of experience and winning mentality to that particular team, because Aston Martin, they want to be at the top, they want to be at the front. You need someone who's been there and done that before. Vettel did that with Red Bull. He knows what to do. He knows how it works. So bringing that to Aston Martin is exactly what they need. And not only that, it's a statement of intent from Aston Martin saying, we mean business. We've just signed a 4-time world champion. Now, it's weird to think that Force India were once these mediocre midfield team on a shoestring budget, fighting fighting with the big boys and ultimately winning on some occasions, have now signed a 4-time world champion. Mm-hmm. Mental, isn't it? How things just pan out. It really is good to see. So yeah, obviously we know Vettel going to Aston Martin. Do we think it's a good thing? In my opinion, I would say yes. I think it is a good thing. I think it's a good thing for the team. I think it's a good thing for Vettel. A brand new start, refresh. If he left F1 after his career at Ferrari, I think a lot of people would just go, Seb, he was, like I said earlier, a washed-up driver, not good enough anymore. He had his days. He was good back in the day, but he's not anymore now. But now he's coming into Aston Martin. He's going to, like I said, try and redeem himself and just go afresh, really, and just prove to people, hopefully, that he's not a wash-up driver anymore. And yeah, I would say Vettel, obviously, he didn't achieve what he did at Ferrari, and it was mission failed and mission win now, mission failed. You could say it was pretty much like that. But Aston Martin have certainly recruited a really good driver in that sense. So I want to see Vettel in a different environment. Like I said before, I wanted to see it. I am going to be seeing it. I believe Vettel will definitely show little glimpses of what he used to be back in the day. I don't think we'll see the whole spinning Sebastian. Even if we do, and I've been proven wrong completely, then we'll look at it and go, well, Vettel, then it wasn't all down to Ferrari. Then Vettel is just not the same guy he once was. He hasn't got the confidence anymore. But I'm in that camp of, I believe in Seb. I believe he can. He's not dead just yet. He's still got that burning desire to win, and he can do it. He almost nearly quit as well. He announced as well in his statement. Well, not in his statement, but in the press conference in Mugello, he said that he nearly quit the sport. He was considering it, and Aston Martin ultimately won him over. So, bravo, Aston, very, very good. So yes, like I said before, I'm firmly believing that he will, recover himself, and we'll see old Sebastian possibly once again. Lyle, what do you think about the whole him moving to Aston Martin? Do you think his days are over as a race winner now? Do you think his days are long gone, or do you think that no, this guy does still have this? He's not fully done yet.
Yeah.
That fire hasn't totally burnt out. There's still flames flickering. He just needs to ignite it that bit more. What do you think about that?
Well, firstly, Sebastian Vettel, just to basically the reason why I'm a Red Bull fan is mainly because of Sebastian Vettel. First race I went to, 2010 Silverstone, I bought a Mark Webber thing, and of course he won the race, and because he was my first guy I saw, I kind of clinged to Mark Webber. But remember, it was Sebastian Vettel's Red Bull. He was like the main guy. It's a little bit like NFL in that way. You might have a favourite player for the New England Patriots last season, but at the end of the day, to whoever's the quarterback, Tom Brady, and you would say Tom Brady's definitely my favourite quarterback. Of course, not this year, he's now at Tampa Bay, but you know what I mean, though. I did like Sebastian for that reason, and he was my guy winning at Red Bull. So when he won all 4 championships, I was ecstatic because my team, even though I was a Mark fan, was winning the championship. And it's most likely the same for a lot of people out there who were Charles Leclerc fans, and they see the other guy winning, or even Lando fans watching Carlos Sainz almost win, and even Fiat fans, if they exist, watching Gasly win. So I was definitely a Sebastian fan, way back when, and I still do, and I hold him as if he's one of the best drivers of all time. 53 wins, 4 world championships, and a illustrious 10-year career in F1. It's absolutely incredible. He's an amazing driver. The only thing though is that when he was at Ferrari, I was just a little bit worried that some people were forgetting the old Sebastian, what he'd achieved, and really, there's no, every single life, I know I feel very philosophical now, but, every single, life is different. People achieve at different times. Some people wait forever. Some people achieve it in 1 or 2 years, like Sebastian did. He came into Formula 1, he got his world championships. Some people wait a very long time, even Michael Schumacher. And I mean, there's probably drivers out there who have waited even longer for their first world championships. Well, actually, Nico Rosberg, that's another one. Mark Webber waited 9 years for his first F1 win, so it can happen at different stages. And Sebastian, he'd won all those 4 world championships, and maybe a little bit too early for some F1 fans who came into sport when he was at Ferrari, and that's all they saw, as John said there, the spinning Sebastian. The nearly Sebastian, okay, fair enough, he was a great driver. I mean, 2017, 2018, second places in consecutive years, 5 wins in consecutive years, 13 podiums in 2017, 12 podiums in 2018, so he was an incredible driver, but still not world champion. A competitor till the end, but just can't put the cherry on the cake like, of course, Lewis and Mercedes could and still can. And again, through some of his spins in Monza and Bahrain, and he spun on, I think it was a Friday, one of the Friday sessions in Monza last weekend, and he's most likely going to do it at Tuscany and a few more races to go forward. I just don't want people to remember Sebastian through, this And when he was released from Ferrari, and when I say released, it was kind of like he was given a chance of get out, or we'll help you take your suitcases out. You know what I mean? He wasn't like, he was let go out of the team that didn't want him anymore. So when he left Ferrari, and there was a real kind of, there wasn't really anywhere for Sebastian to go, and as we said there before, what he'd done at Ferrari hadn't worked. I thought maybe it's the best thing for him to do to kind of keep his reputation alive, is to just retire from Formula One. And you're not retiring on top, because his last World Championship was 2013, 7 years ago. But retire now and say, I've had a good career and I've been at some good teams. I've been at I've been at 2 good teams, and I've been at 2 World Championship teams out of 4. Even Toro Rosso, I won a race there in 2008, of course, one of the youngest winners in Formula One, emulating, of course, what Pierre Gasly did last weekend as well. So, I've done well. I've had a good career. But if I retire now, where, I've had a good career at Ferrari, but now I'm out of a contract, I'll just leave it there, because I don't want to, fight for anything else. If I just retire now, I'll keep everything intact, and I'll go out on top a little bit. I just didn't want him to sign for another team and have all this coming again, because Kimi Räikkönen, we can look at him. He was a man who was at Ferrari. Well, the first time he was at Ferrari, won a World Championship, high pressure. He came out to Ferrari in his second stint, and even though there wasn't loads of... And obviously, Kimi's not a man to kind of freak out about anything. Whatever happens, happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. I imagine he's not one of these people to pull his hair out. What happens in a race is one of those things, but he'll still have felt pressure. And of course, we were going through that instance of 2018 where, it was 112, 113, 114 races without a victory from Kimi. And even though he'd been on the podium, you were thinking, what's he doing at Ferrari? What is he doing? Obviously, finally wins a race in Austin. It's great to see, but it's still not a consecutive Kimi kind of thing. Goes to Alfa Romeo, no pressure on his shoulders. And this no pressure, even though I know the car isn't great, it's a midfield car, so I'm not obviously expecting him to compete at the front, but the no pressure, or very little pressure, is definitely helping him. And in my eyes, he's definitely excelled as... In reputation, I was a big Kimi fan at the end of 2019. I wasn't at the end of 2018. I definitely was at the end of 2019. And to be honest, this year I am still. Also, he's one of my highly rated drivers, because of the fact that even though the pressure's gone and we think that Kimi is kind of a sunset time at Alfa Romeo, he's still achieving a lot. And I just didn't see Sebastian doing that. He'll go to a team, which he is now, he'll go to Aston Martin, and it won't be a Kimi Räikkönen sunset years, less pressure kind of team. He'll still be at the front. He'll be demanding results, and they're a midfield team. Going off, obviously, of course, what Racing Point are right now. They're a midfield team, and I say that, and I know they have some good results. Ergo, Lance Stroll just finishing 3rd on the podium, but... Remember, you've got Red Bull Racing and you've got Mercedes still out the front. They are still a bit of a midfield team, and they're not a team to get Sebastian the results that he needs. And what he needs is World Championships, and he's not going to get that. I would like to see him winning World Championships, of course. And as Jordan said there, we have no idea what we're going to see. What is that? What's the car going to be like? With the using Mercedes engines, they're looking at Aston Martin engines as well. What Red Bull actually promised to get. When Aston Martin joined Red Bull, they had a promise. They had almost a made-up contract to say that we were going to supply Aston Martin engines to the team. That never worked out. So now, from what we've seen in the news, that is now going to change to obviously go with Aston Martin. So next year, using Mercedes engine, but they're going to now start implementing and hopefully build an Aston Martin engine. Of course, have Aston Martin the actual supplier in Formula One. We don't know what they're going to get. Hopefully, they have a good team. But from what we've seen in the past few years and what we've seen from Racing Point now, I just don't see them giving Sebastian what he needs. And if we do see the same as what we have in the last few years, Sebastian getting close but not there, we see him spinning, we see him getting aggressive. I just don't want to see that out of him. I like Sebastian, and I'd like him if he retired now, 4 World Championships, a good career in Formula One, he'll always be remembered as one of the greatest. But that's it. He will have retired. If he goes to Aston Martin and has one season like he does at Ferrari, especially in 2019, even if it does happen like it has this year, he needs to pull the plug. Definitely. It's a good risk, and I do like it. But Sebastian, maybe it's a it's a bold decision from him because we don't know what that car's going to be like. But the last thing though is Aston Martin in terms of the team, Jordan. Like I've said with Renault and signing Fernando Alonso, I think it's perfect. And again, like you said there, they have taken a bold step to say that we are serious about signing Sebastian Vettel. I really like that. So I'm hoping that they have a good season in terms of the team, and I hope that Sebastian does as well. But sometimes I'm biting my tongue a little bit, and I'm thinking, will it work out? Will it be the best move for him? I don't really know. So obviously, Jordan, he's moved there. Sebastian Vettel moved to Aston Martin. I wanted to just bring up one thing, which is actually what one of our subscribers said. He commented under one of the videos. I think it was Sebastian Vettel signs, obviously. He said Sebastian Vettel and Fernando Alonso 2021 battle again, but it won't be Red Bull versus Ferrari. It'll be Aston Martin versus Renault. So how do you see that? How do you see that playing out? I mean, it doesn't have to be against Fernando. This is also about Sebastian, who will his kind of nearest competitors be. But on the topic of that, because obviously we know history and rivalry between Seb and Fernando. I don't know, can you see that going anywhere? Sebastian versus Fernando 2.0, but more of a midfield battle now, maybe than a front-running battle, or maybe even a front-runner, I don't know. I mean, what do you think about that?
I think that could definitely happen. I mean, you've got two really good experienced drivers, very quick drivers at that, fighting possibly in the midfield, maybe towards the front in the midfield. You've got Renault, who are out here to prove, well, they'll be called Alpine in 2021, but we'll say Renault for argument's sake. They're going to be wanting to prove a point that we, again, mean business. We want to get back to the front. Aston Martin, likewise, they'll be wanting to get to the front and again dominate the sport, which is probably more likely that they're going to be doing it over Alpine or Renault or whatever you want to call them. Again, another bloody name just to confuse everyone with, but never mind. And yeah, I could certainly see maybe one or two races where Alonso and Sebastian Vettel do go toe-to-toe, wheel-to-wheel racing. It's going to be rather interesting. I am looking forward to that. And yeah, it'll be really, really good to see those two battling once again, like the old school days. Maybe throwing Kim Raikkonen if he's still in there as well for good measure. But yeah, I can't see Aston Martin being at the front. I think Vettel knows this straight away. I think it's going to be like a 2015 kind of Ferrari season where we knew Ferrari weren't going to be at the front, like winning championships. We knew this. I think winning 3 races in 2015 was something better than what they originally thought. Because 2014 was a very poor year for Ferrari, no wins at all. In 2015, they totally redesigned the car, and then won 3 races. Vettel won all 3 of them for Ferrari. And against a Mercedes car that was just unstoppable at times, it was incredible. So I think he knows he's not going to be at the front, but 2022, that's when the pressure is going to be there, not just for Aston Martin but for Vettel as well, because obviously Aston Martin are there to prove a point, but Vettel is there to prove to others that he's still got fire inside, that he's still got the ability to win races and stuff. And Aston Martin will be wanting to build a race-winning car. If they don't build a race-winning car, is Vettel going to stick around? I really don't know. Again, only time will tell. But I am kind of sort of visioning, Vettel doing a little bit better. I think we will see a really good side of Vettel next year. And hopefully, we can spring up a couple of battles with Fernando Alonso. But I think the biggest thing about this, right, is of course the guy that is making way for Sebastian Vettel at Racing Point / Aston Martin next season, which is Sergio Perez, which we've got to talk about him because he's one of the most popular drivers on the grid. He's one of the quickest drivers on the grid in terms of midfield bunches, I would say. Not I wouldn't say the quickest in terms of Hamilton and Verstappen kind of level, but certainly he's a driver you would want in your car if you don't have the budget for the likes of Hamilton, Charles Leclerc, Max Verstappen, those kind of big drivers. Mm-hmm. If in the next category down, you would put Perez certainly along with a bunch of others. And Perez, very well experienced. He's been there since 2014. I just think the way it all came about was just even worse because in the media, the media day for the Tuscan Grand Prix, he said that he knew nothing about it until the day it was announced that he was going to be leaving. He got a call from Lawrence and said, "We're not going to renew. We're going to terminate your deal after this season." Yeah. And I'm just thinking, hang on a minute, right? This guy has been so loyal to your team. Not only that, he saved the team. He pushed everything forward to try and get the sale of this team across. He helped the team to stay afloat, and this is how you repay him. It's a bit of a kick in the nads. If you don't know what that means, then look. I would say Google it, but maybe don't. But it's a big bang in the ghoulies. Let's say that's all I'll say.
Oh, that would make more sense.
Yeah, it doesn't make any more sense, but think about it. Anyways, moving on. Yeah, I mean, again, I'm not. It sounds like I'm not really a fan of F1 at all, but I'm not the biggest Perez fan in the world. But no,
Who are you a fan of, then? He used to drive for your team as well.
I know he did. I'm sorry.
I'm not a big Sainz fan. I'm not a big Norris fan.
I'm not a big Norris fan.
I'm never a big Hamilton or Jenson Button fan.
I'm not really a big F1 fan, if I'm being honest. But anyways, but no, I like Perez. I've said, in my opinion, he's the most underrated driver on the grid. Yeah. Certainly deserves a quick car that can be at the front, winning races. And yes, all right, he was at McLaren, but the McLaren car wasn't that good. It wasn't a front running car. I would say top end midfield car at best. Never mind. Anyways, and yeah, he's proven time and time again that he can deliver when it matters. Like he can deal with pressure. He's gone toe to toe with some good teammates. He's never been beaten by a teammate. More than likely, that's going to be happening this season, unless things turn around, of course. But never mind. And it's like, I think the question is, though, is where does he go? Leaving a team like Racing Point, where he's been there since 2014, he's been linked with various other teams, within Formula One. I believe that's where he ideally wants to stay, because there are links with other motorsports, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But I think we should talk about his options in Formula One. Yeah. So who have you got? Well, you've got Red Bull, who are uncertain as to whether they want to continue with Albon or not. If they do decide to drop him, then I would say there's no one else really ready. There is one particular driver, but we're not going to talk about him yet. Again, we'll discuss him in a little bit. That actually was supposed to be the topic of this episode, but things happened, but we'll have to talk about him another day. But anyways, so Red Bull is an option, which I would say that is a really good shout. Alfa Romeo, who are really, they're quite vocal in saying that they want Perez. Apparently, they've already made contact with him. That's like the media's number one destination for Perez next season. Haas is also another name linked with Perez. And I think that's it. Again, AlphaTauri, people are saying AlphaTauri, and I'm like, no, I can't see that happening. Of course, Williams have got their drivers locked out. Renault, they've got their drivers locked out. Obviously, McLaren do, and all that. So, yeah, I think it's either going to be Red Bull, Alfa Romeo, or Haas. Well, out of those three teams, where do you realistically see Perez being next season? Or do you believe he won't be in F1 next season? He's going to go off to another motorsport, sorry. And if he does, then please, if you think that, then please name it. But where do you think Perez is going to be next season?
Well, again, as you said there, John, Perez definitely one of the most underrated drivers on the grid. He's had a turbulent career, hasn't he? And with McLaren, like you mentioned there, obviously, I know that the car wasn't the best, but actually, again, why did McLaren do? Some teams in Formula One have done some very stupid things. They've got the best minds in the world, but sometimes we do stupid things. Trading places 1 and 2 for Red Bull, of course. And McLaren's bringing in Magnussen to replace Perez after one season, when Perez did, again, a good job in that car, which wasn't very good, of course, back in 2013 alongside Button. But, and that could have gone badly for Perez, leaving McLaren in 2013, where were the options? I mean, who would want a guy who, he had a good season with Sauber, 2 seasons with Sauber, then he was promoted to a big team McLaren, and, that season, he was kind of shifted with most of the blame, which I didn't really like. The car wasn't good. I think it was something like McLaren hadn't been on the podium since 1984 or something, or there were seasons since 1984, sorry. And, people like Martin Whitmarsh, they didn't take the blame. Ron Dennis didn't take the blame. Jensen didn't take the blame. It seemed to be a lot on Sergio Perez, and I was kind of like, it's not right. He was kicked aside for Magnussen, a man who, at that point, I think he was kind of not very much heard of. He was in the programme, like Stoffel was, but very much was known about him, in my eyes anyways, and Perez should have stayed. But thankfully he found a team that wanted him, Force India. He kind of went back to the midfield, kind of did a bit of a Nico Hülkenberg, if you remember. He went from Force India to Sauber to Force India. So obviously Perez went from Sauber to McLaren to Force India, and obviously, as I say, made it work. And he's been at the team ever since. Obviously, again, like you said there, John, I completely agree. It's not, that's his home. And actually, I've said that in quite a lot of episodes. And I've said, sometimes drivers, instead of hopping from team to team to team to try and find them a winning championship car, they should think about staying at a team and making it their home. Well, again, them words that I've just said, I'm kind of, I'm eating them in this statement, because Perez has done exactly what I've said there. He stayed at Force India / Racing Point, and what should be Aston Martin for him next year. He stayed at that team, made it his own, and yeah, as John said there, that's how they're paying him. It's absolutely ridiculous. So yeah, staying in Formula 1, I can obviously definitely see Perez staying there. He's very, very talented for sure. He was contracted also in Aston Martin, and in that way it was kind of like we've said before in other episodes, and we have said this as well. So we're not going to turn back on our words. We have said vocally, if whoever wants the 4-time world champion, they will move heaven and earth to get rid of whoever's in their way. So we've said that, we agree. But now we've seen it happen, it's kind of like, it's awkward. I don't like it. Also as well, in my opinion as well, just to quickly say that Lance Stroll, again, who John said at the start, hasn't been signed, but does look like he will be there. I don't think he's staying there because his dad is the owner of the team. I think, of course, that has, that's playing in, of course, that's played its part, but I don't think that that's all of the reason why. I think Lance is still he's still a very talented driver. He's had good results this year, of course, his first podium for the team back in Monza. His dad does own the team, but remember, he is younger, and maybe the team just, in an unbiased way, a referee kind of way, they've seen that he has more of an opportunity at the team. But anyway, that's enough of me telling you, what's what. Yeah, to answer the question about the teams, of course, again, people can be moved out of contracts. I think there's a chance he could go to Haas, Ferrari. Again, he's not in the Ferrari program, but I don't know, with Sergio Perez, you think that there's a chance he could get to Ferrari. He was linked there a few years ago when he left McLaren, and I think that would be an ultimate goal for him. So I think Haas will be a good shout. Of course, the two drivers then, Roman and Kevin, kind of need a little bit of upgrading, or maybe a bit of sprucing up. I mean, they are getting on a bit. I don't really know who's going to leave and what's going on there, but I think Haas has a good chance. Actually, do you know what though? Red Bull, and I never thought I'd be saying this. I mean, after Pierre Gasly won his race, of course, everyone says, back to Red Bull you go. But there is a bit of debate about that, and obviously, are they going to do that? Trading Places 3.0 would be absolutely insane, but it might be for the right reasons. We might finally be, getting the right guy in that Red Bull seat. I think to move Perez to Red Bull, I could see that happening now that I see it. And that actually would be a good move. And that would be an okay move, I think. Of course, in the terms of Albon, it would be a bit harsh. After again all that he's been through. Remember, everyone remembers what Gasly's been through. Remember what Albon's been through. I know that Albon, it's kind of been positive for him, obviously going from the sister team to the big team. But remember, he's still been through a lot. So for him to get, this wouldn't be a demotion, but for him to get kicked out again would be a little bit, remember him as well. But I could see it happening. I really, really could. Perez is a strong driver, and I think he definitely deserves a chance at a top team. And in a way, again, it's weird that I'm saying this because, even though I said with Sebastian Vettel, Racing Point aren't a top team, but they are a good team. And if Sergio was given a chance to go to Aston Martin next year, he would have been perfect. I can't actually believe that this has happened, but it has. We've got to face facts. And I could see it happening with Red Bull. But Alfa Romeo, no, they're too far down the field. Haas, possibly. And if that was going to happen, a driver to leave, I'm going to say, this is so hard. Probably Grosjean. But it is really, really hard to say for sure. Or maybe even Louis Delatraz, Formula 2 driver. He's in the Haas program as well. Maybe him getting in the team would be good. I know that he's been linked with Grosjean as well. 2 Swiss drivers in the team. Obviously, Louis got a good future ahead of him in Formula 1. Definitely backed for a seat next year. So maybe it would be that. It's definitely hard to say, but I could probably see Haas in that direction. But definitely, Jordan, I think Red Bull is a good shout. So, what team, if you had to pick one team for Sergio to go to, what would you choose?
I see, because when I did the announcement, I think I said Alfa Romeo was like a bit of a no-go because it's already down to whether Perez wants to be in the midfield or not again. Because that's where he's been throughout the majority of his career. Now, Alfa Romeo or Haas, they're not a team that is on the rise at the moment. Who knows what happens in 2022? But it already depends what they put on the table for Perez. It depends what appeals to him. I think maybe that Red Bull seat will be his preferred choice, because I think even if maybe Helmut Marko or whoever should be on the phone, or even Christian Horner should be on the phone to Perez to try and get him in if they don't truly believe in Albon, because even though if they're twice Red Bull have tried youth and it hasn't worked, so let's try experience and away from the academy to see how it works. And if they want to play the system right, probably get rid of Kvyat, drop him. If they don't believe Tsunoda is ready or doesn't have the enough super license points, if he doesn't finish in fourth or higher, drop down Albon back AlphaTauri next to Gasly and put Perez in that seat. And then you've got a really good number 2 driver alongside Max Verstappen, and who can on his day deliver the podiums and possibly deliver a race win, if he is called upon. But again, we don't know, because we've seen 2 drivers struggle massively when it comes to that. Now Red Bull have even came up and said that that we need to give the number 2 driver a better car. So whether Perez jumps in that car and he's still off the pace, the same level as to what Gasly and Albon were, then it's like, well, there's something clearly wrong with that. But it's going to all feather down to see what Perez wants, because the money, because Perez brings a lot of Mexican money, a lot of sponsorships. So it's not really going to benefit Red Bull as much. Extra cash is brilliant to any team, to Mercedes or to Ferrari, but it's not really. Red Bull aren't really needing it, are they? They're wealthy. They're wealthy enough. But I mean, with what's going on, any team could use a little bit of extra cash injection. So Alfa Romeo would be a good shout. Again, he was part of the Ferrari program, so you have them Ferrari links, and Haas as well. They're part of the Ferrari program. Alfa Romeo, there was rumours circulating this week that Alfa Romeo were going to be signing Hulkenberg and Mick Schumacher for 21. So, of course, they are aiming for an experienced driver and a young driver. So whether they maybe just to go on U-turn and go, well, hang on a minute, Perez is available. We didn't think he was available, but let's go for him. And if I was Frederick Vasseur, or whoever makes the choice at Alfa Romeo, if I had the choice between Hulkenberg or Perez, I'm choosing Perez.
Or it could be Hulkenberg and Perez. You never know.
It could be Hulkenberg and Perez. That's a good shout. Yeah, that's a good point.
Force India 2.0. Because I'm just thinking. Yeah. I mean, Kimi and Gio. I mean, Kimi's most likely going to retire at the end of the season, but have they landed on Gio for the future?
I mean, I don't think. I mean, yeah, it's a good shout. I mean, it's a one that maybe Haas could look at for Perez and Hulkenberg, but obviously it depends if they can afford their wages, because that's a chunk of wages on the pair of them. And Haas aren't exactly rolling in it, but neither Alfa Romeo. But I think Alfa Romeo, they are saving one seat for potentially whoever wins the championship, which is more than likely going to be a Ferrari driver academy driver. So you got Schwartzman, Eilert, and Schumacher. One of them 3 could potentially jump in. Either Alfa Romeo go, right, okay, we're getting Schumacher. Whoever wins the championship, if it is a Ferrari driver academy personnel, they're going in the Haas alongside whoever Haas decide to bring in. Whether I think if there's anyone that would leave, would be Grosjean, 100%. K-Mag, would he stay there or not? Honestly, I don't know. I think he would benefit well there, maybe alongside someone else. Whether that's Schumacher, Schwartzman, Eilert, I don't know. And then Alfa Romeo could then, look at, okay, we'll take Perez and we'll take Schumacher. Haas takes Hulkenberg, which is like a big rumour as well, rumour that Hulkenberg was going to be going to Haas before it was linked with Alfa Romeo, and then they'll take whoever wins the F2 championship. So my money is on Alfa Romeo, but I'm not 100% sure. I mean, he might get so annoyed with being in F1, he might go, I tell you what, I want to win championships. I'm not getting any younger. If I stick in Formula 1, more than likely it's going to be with a midfield team. And does he want to do that again? I don't know. If he believes that he can go off to another series and do well, he's going to go and do it. So I think he would look at those options. Formula E is a one that a lot of people are talking about. IndyCar as well. We've seen drivers who have done okay in Formula 1. I think Perez to IndyCar would be a big move. And again, same with Formula E. That would be a really big move if he did do that. But at the same time, it's like, again, does he want to make that jump? Does he want to do that? I really don't know. But I want to put my money on. My money is on Alfa Romeo. Yes. But again, I really don't know. I really don't. He hasn't announced any future plans. I think it's become that big of a shock. He said it in his in his statement on Twitter that he hasn't got a plan B, and then he admitted in the press conference that it was such a shock to him. So really, he hasn't got any options.
Yeah.
He wasn't talking to anybody. So it's like, okay, what do I do now? So yeah, Alfa Romeo for me. Lionel, final thing on this actually. Do you think Perez could possibly jump to another motorsport series? Should it ever boil down to that?
See, the thing is, I mean, is Formula... This is like this is a good question. Is Formula 1 ruining driver careers? Because, I don't know, we've seen a lot of people who've been in Formula 1 before haven't been given the chance. Either they haven't been given the chance by the team or they haven't been given a seat. And they've gone off to other forms of motorsport, whether that be IndyCar, whether that be Formula E, and they've made something of them now. I mean, Formula E's got a lot of either people who've been in Formula 1 before, or even in the rising, people like Stoffel. I mean, to be honest, Mercedes are made of Stoffel Van Dorn, a man who was given a chance at McLaren, didn't have the car and really carted out. And Nick de Vries, of course, the winner of the Formula 2 series, who couldn't find a seat in Formula 1. I don't really see that about Perez, but I really don't. That's the thing, John. I really don't know about that. I mean, of course, he's from the Americas. Of course, there's racing over there as well. That he could go into IndyCar and NASCAR as well. We know that obviously there's been a few Brazilian drivers in Formula 1 before who've done other types of motorsport around that area. There's a possibility, but no, I agree with you completely beforehand that Sergio's. He has to stay in Formula 1. And again, we say that he hasn't got a plan B. That was kind of what was said about Sebastian a few months ago. I'm sure that he'll be able to find something. I really, really do. My thought is that he'll be able to find something. But guys, let us know in the comment section below. Do you think that Sergio will be able to find another option? And what team will it be? Also, there is, silly season is definitely ramping up. It's absolutely crazy. We've just gone over halfway in the season. It's going to be a good one. And that's even before all the Formula 2 drivers, well, we hope all the Formula 2 drivers come through. At least one, hopefully the world champion of, as Jordan said there, the Formula 2 Championship. Will it be Robert Schwartz and Mick Schumacher, Callum Ilott, or maybe someone else? And obviously, it doesn't have to be the world champion. People like Louis Delatraz, they could get promoted as well, but obviously let us know in the comment section below. And your thoughts on Sergio and Sebastian. We've made reaction videos that went out on the channel, of course, when the news went live. The Sergio one is doing absolutely incredibly well, which proves to us that he is a very important driver to keep in Formula 1. He's got a massive future ahead of him, and he is liked and he is adored, and he does get the results because you guys have watched it and liked the hell out of that video. Or maybe you just like Jordan the presenter, but we'll never know. Anyway, guys, that is the end of our episode. Thank you very much for watching. If you are new to the channel, please like and subscribe. Hit that notification bell. You'll be notified every time we upload. We have so much more content coming throughout the 2020 season. Of course, tomorrow is the Tuscan Grand Prix. The live race reaction will come from me straight after the race, so make sure you stay tuned for that. And of course, through all of 2020, the remaining races that we have. Our race build-up for the next round, which will be Sochi, will start, of course, on the week building up. Tuesday will be Agree Disagree, all the way through F1 news, preview of Sochi, the F1 debate on the Saturday, and of course the race reaction on the Sunday, and that's for the remaining races. Also, our target for the end of the season is 3,000 subscribers, so please, please, please help us out and hit that subscribe button as well. Tell your friends about us if you have any, unlike us, that we don't have any apart from each other, but we both know about the F1 debate show, so it really doesn't help us. Thank you very much for watching, guys. Stay safe, watch what you're doing out there, and until next time, we'll see you later.
See you later, guys.